Hello and welcome. You're watching NDTV. I'm Vedant Agarwal. Our lead story is Battleground Gaza. Well, Islamist militant group Hamas, which is based in Gaza and Palestine, has attacked Israel by sending dozens of gunmen into its country. In fact, Israel now has declared a state of war in Gaza. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has said that we stand in complete solidarity with Israel when the death toll has reached over 100. Take a look at this report. Unprecedented scenes as Israel prepared for a festive weekend of Jewish Sabbath. The country under attack at the hands of the Palestinian militant group Hamas. In a multi-pronged attack, Hamas, which is a group running the besieged Gaza Strip, claims to have fired 5,000 rockets into Israeli territory and sent dozens of fighters into Israel, some of them even paragliders. Reports say they flew over the fence and let other fighters in. Initial estimates say that casualties are high. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it was a full-scale war.
אזרחי ישראל, אנחנו במלחמה. לא במבצע, לא בסבבים, במלחמה. הבוקר חמאס פתח במתקפת פתע רצחני נגד מדינת ישראל ונגד אזרחיה. אנחנו בתוך זה משעות הבוקר המוקדמות.
In the immediate aftermath of the Hamas attacks, sirens echoed through the Gaza Strip in Palestine as Israel launched airstrikes, saying Hamas had made a grave error. Reports say there's a large number of dead and wounded people at hospitals in Gaza. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of Palestine, said that the Palestinian people have the right to defend themselves against the terror of settlers and occupation troops. According to some reports, Hamas fighters say they've captured dozens of Israeli soldiers. Conflicts between the neighbors have flared up time and again in the past. Some minor, some of them catastrophic proportions that have led to the deaths of thousands. These attacks mark Hamas's biggest offensive against Israel in decades. As fighting rages on in the areas that have been infiltrated by Hamas fighters, it would take some time to assess the extent of the damage. With Vishal Vivek, Bureau Report, NDTV. So, well, Israel and Palestine are tense again, and it's just the beginning, as Hamas says, and well, Israel has declared a state of war. But moving now to our other big focus, the aftermath of the Sikkim floods. The situation on the ground is extremely concerning, but what was actually behind the floods? Well, new satellite imagery accessed by NDTV reveals the latest ground situation at the South Lonak Lake in Sikkim, which breached its banks, resulting in the death of more than 50 people and damage worth thousands of crores. Vishnu Shom has exclusive satellite images, and the revelations are truly startling.
Well, new extremely high-resolution satellite imagery accessed by NDTV shows the exact site of the breach in the high-altitude South Lonak Lake in Sikkim, which has resulted in disastrous floods causing the loss of dozens of lives. Significantly, the images show exposed parts of the lake's banks, indicating that the water level has significantly dropped. There's also evidence of an avalanche which may increase pressure on the fragile glacial lake, may have resulted in more pressure, resulting in the lake breaching its banks. First, this is the South Lonak Lake. It is located at an altitude of 17,100 feet in North Sikkim. This image just 1 day old. This is the latest Maxar satellite image. We will now do a deep dive into what this image shows. For starters, this is the exact area where there's been a breach in the glacial lake. The image indicates that it was continuing to drain out even yesterday. As a result of the lake flowing out, this area of the shoreline that you see is now completely exposed. Compared to earlier images of the area, this indicates considerably lower levels of water. In fact, scientists have already stated that the water level at the South Lonak Lake has decreased by 170 hectares compared to a week earlier. The images you just saw indicate, per ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization, that there is now less than 60 hectares of water in the lake, and its release of this water which has caused massive damage downstream. Now by zooming into yesterday's image, which we are doing here, we can show a large volume of broken ice on the surface and ice flows that you see. Was there pressure on the ice on the lake which prompted it to break? Again, we'll be focusing on that in a moment. But for now, if we zoom in to another part of the lake, we can see evidence of a landslide or slope failure. The signs are all adding up. It seems absolutely clear. The big question, what triggered this event which resulted in the South Lonak Lake breaking its banks? Was it that avalanche, the image of which we just showed you, that resulted in a large volume of water being displaced? Was it melting ice on the surface of the lake? What is clear is that this was a water body under immense stress. So let's now show you all of the details in one image. The breach is on the right. The exposed shoreline is just under the breach on the right of this picture. Ice flows in the center of the lake, as you can see, and the landslide to the extreme left. So this was an image from yesterday, the 6th of October. Let's now bring you an image of this lake from the 7th of February. The lake at that stage was entirely frozen, but there are crucial details which we can now show you. For starters, this is the lake on the 7th of February. It has significantly greater volume of water, entirely ice, as you can see, compared to the present situation. But if you zoom into the lake in February, you can actually see, and it's very clear in this image, fractured patterns on the ice all across the lake, indicating that this was a body under pressure. So now if we compare the February 7th image, which is on the left-hand side of your screen, with the image of yesterday, the 6th of October, you can see how this fractured ice on the left has broken completely. There are ice flows in the image on the right, and water, as we've explained to you, continues to drain out of this lake consistently. Now the dangers of glacial lakes breaching their banks is well known. There were warnings back even in 2001 with the Sikkim Human Development Report warning of a potential catastrophic impact of a glacial lake outburst. That has happened now with devastating consequences.
And well, what's really happening on ground? Well, it's devastation and the death toll is only rising. Rescue operations extremely challenging. Take a look at this ground report.
This morning, NDTV reached the Dikchu Dam on the Teesta, where damage is extensive.
The impact of the Teesta flash flood is really visible when you visit the dams that have been built along the Teesta. We are at the Dikchu Dam. This is the approach road to the dam. As you can see, the approach road has been completely washed away by the floodwaters of the Teesta.
Last rites of 37-year-old Dawa Shering Lepcha, who lost his life at the Dikchu Dam trying to save others.
Alongside the stories of tragedy, of loss, of grief in this Teesta flash flood, there are some who tried to save whatever they could. Dawa Shering Lepcha, 37 years old, was working at the dam when the floodwaters came. He went down to open the gates so that some of the water could be released and people could be saved, but unfortunately he did not make it alive. The floodwaters consumed him before he could come up.
उपल्लोपट्टिको भाइ गएको थियो अनि त भाइले खबर गरेछ उ अतालेर निस्किँदाखेरि माथि कुद्दै निस्किँदाखेरि ड्यामबाट उँभो निस्किँदाखेरि त्यहाँबाट अतालेर निस्केर उले चाहिँ उसको आप्पालाई फोन गर्यो त्यहाँबाट मात्रै हामीले इन्फर्म पायो तर ड्यामबाट चाहिँ हामीलाई केही इन्फर्म दिएन केही गरेन हामीले त्यो भाइबाट मात्रै याद पाएको अरु केही याद थिएन हामीलाई नभए उले नभनेको हामी याद हुन्थेन
हम लोग इधर उधर जाके ढूंढा लेकिन फिर भी नहीं मिला फिर 5 तारीख को जा करके हम लोग देखा तो उस पर लूम जंगू एरिया साइड में इनका बॉडी हम लोगों को मिला.
The government's prime concern still has to be evacuating over 3,000 tourists stranded.
जो इन जीवन को सामान्य बनाने के लिए आवश्यक है, जैसे सड़कों का, हमारी पानी की सप्लाई, इलेक्ट्रिक सप्लाई, लोगों को संचार माध्यम से जोड़ना, फोन का कनेक्शन, इंटरनेट, ये सारी चीज़ों के लिए लगातार हमारे प्रयास जारी हैं।
These visuals from the worst hit Chungthang, where the hydropower project dam has breached, shows the massive damage North Sikkim has seen. This viral video of an explosive on the Teesta river bed was a controlled explosion according to Indian Army sources. After some of the explosives from the Bardang camp in Sikkim washed up in the Teesta river, Army teams are looking for more explosives and weapons that may have flowed down the river. Earlier, the Indian Army issued a warning for civilians in flood-hit Sikkim on Friday after military equipments were swept away by the Teesta river. With camera person G.D. Shankar and Saurabh Gupta in Sikkim, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
So situation on the ground in Sikkim pretty concerning. But moving now to the big political headline, well, Ashok Gehlot has announced that a caste-based census will take place if the Congress is voted to power. What is really the political ploy behind it? What are going to be the ramifications? Harsha Kumari Singh reports.
Ashok Gehlot's big ticket announcement. If voted back to power, Rajasthan will have a caste survey like Bihar, so that people get opportunities in education and jobs according to their numbers.
जातिगत जनगणना की प्रस्ताव पास हुआ था। वो हमारे अहम बात है कि हमारे महाधिवेशन कांग्रेस का, अखिल भारतीय कांग्रेस कमेटी महाधिवेशन, उसके अंदर जो प्रस्ताव पास हुआ, उसके आधार पर हमने तय किया है राजस्थान सरकार भी बिहार की तरह जातिगत जनगणना करवाएगी। जनसंख्या उसकी भागीदारी उतनी होनी चाहिए।
With elections round the corner, it's clearly an attempt to consolidate caste votes, especially the OBCs, who are 50% of the population in Rajasthan. At a rally in Banswara 2 months ago, Ashok Gehlot had announced increasing the OBC quota by 6% from 21 to 27%.
नंबर 1, मतलब कोई भी बात हो ध्यान बटाने की पूरी कोशिश। बिहार के अंदर भी जो ये जातिगत जनगणना हुई है, उसके अंदर अब वीडियो आ रहे हैं, हर जिले से वीडियो आ रहे हैं कि हमसे तो पूछा ही नहीं, हमारे घर तो आई नहीं, तो ये फर्जीवाड़ा केवल कागजों पे हुआ।
But navigating Rajasthan's complicated caste matrix is not that easy. Even within the OBC, SC and ST quotas, there is a jostling for space. And dominant castes often take away a major share of benefits under the quota pie, like the Jats, for example.
जो पढ़ लिख के आगे बढ़ेगा, जिसकी एजुकेशन अच्छी होगी, कंपटीशन में पार निकलेगा, वही तो आएगा।
Will a promise of caste surveys translate into benefits in this elections remains to be seen. But the journey from identifying caste groups and giving them benefits under jobs and education is one that will face many legal hurdles. With Somu Anand in Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
So, well, politics heating up in Rajasthan months ahead of the crucial elections. But moving now to our special focus on NDTV. Well, pollution season has kicked in yet again, and Punjab farms are on fire. This as the impact is clearly being felt here in the national capital, and the first stage of the emergency pollution action plan has also kicked in. Take a look at this report. Punjab fields are black with burnt stubble, and the skies smoky with toxic air. 2 years of the Delhi party's rule in Punjab, and the Aam Aadmi Party has failed to put out the deadly farm fires.
और मुझे उम्मीद है कि अगली साल तक, जब अब लगे हुए हैं इस पे, अगली साल तक पराली के जलने का इंसिडेंस काफ़ी कम होगा। कई सारे कदम उठाए जाएंगे, स्पेसिफिक कठोर कदम उठाए जाएंगे, किसानों के साथ मिलकर कदम उठाए जाएंगे, लेकिन हम इसमें ब्लेम गेम नहीं करना चाहते। पंजाब के अंदर अगर पराली जल रही है, उसके लिए हम जिम्मेदार हैं, हमारी सरकार जिम्मेदार है।
But 1 year later, farm fires are burning as fiercely as ever in Punjab, as farmers still have no access to crushing machines despite AAP's promises. Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Man's call for crop diversification has been ineffective, as farmers are yet to find viable options.
वो लगा रहे हैं जिनको पता नहीं है, लेकिन है ठीक काम, ये काम चले, सरकार थोड़ा और जिम्मेदार को बढ़ावा दे ना, और बढ़िया हो सकता है। जैसे चीनी के बर्तन है, उसको गत्ते की पेटियां में ले जाते हैं, इसमें ले जाएंगे तो और अच्छा हो सकता है, इसका और गर्द से बिकेगी।
In fact, farm fires have gone up from last September-October this year. The impact is clearly visible in Delhi. On the day the air quality in the NCR region dipped to emergency levels, the first stage of the emergency pollution plan kicked in, leading to a blanket ban on coal and firewood and restrictions on truck traffic in the capital.
Given the scale of the problem, what we should focus on is, are we doing better compared to last year? And if you're doing better, how better it is, and how do we plan for the next year? We need to focus on doing some concrete steps.
As deadly smog covers the capital sky, Delhiites are back to breathing poison. The big question, what about our right to healthy air, and who is to blame? With Mohammad Ghazali in Punjab, Vedant Agarwal for NDTV. So where the capital is choking and where does the buck really stop? We'll take a short break now. There's more news on the other side. Welcome back. The big political focus right now is the Women's Reservation Bill and quota within quota. Well, BRS leader K. Kavita, who's on a 2-day visit to the United Kingdom, has said that Women's Reservation Bill does not include the OBC women, and she says we will continue the fight until they're included. Take a look at what she had to say.
We passed a resolution in our state assembly asking the central government to pass the 33% Women's Reservation Bill, and today it has become a reality. We will make sure the bill touches the lives of every women from every strata. And I'm really glad that I'm here today speaking about it. We look out for opportunities like this, not only for me, but many more women here. As I said, women of the world, it is time we should get united. But on the other hand,